A very warm welcome to Art Gallery Explorer from East Sussex. It's a bit of an inauspicious place to start filming actually, because as you can probably hear, I'm on the side of the A27 awaiting a friend who's cycling over to meet me from Brighton. I've got the train to Glyne Station, but I'm heading to Farleys farmhouse in East Sussex in Chiddingly to explore the home of British Surrealism. Farleys farmhouse used to be the home of British surrealist and art promoter Roland Penrose. Penrose was one of the main organisers, for example, of the first international exhibition of surrealism in London. And Lee Miller is one of the greatest photographers of the 20th century. She's got an exhibition coming up in October at Tate Britain, which I can't wait to take you to. So I thought I'd head along to Farleys farmhouse, bring you along for the ride. I'd never been before, have no idea what to expect. I booked on for a house tour, and I am just waiting currently on the cycle path, if I just spin you round, which conveniently runs alongside the A27, for a friend who's cycling over from Brighton, and he's going to join us on this day out exploration. So come and join me as we head to Farleys farmhouse in East Chiddingly, East Sussex, to explore the home of British surrealism. Yeah. So we've just arrived at Farleys farmhouse. This is Rich. Welcome to the vlog, Rich.
Hello everybody.
Nice to see you. We've got a guided tour book, so I'm not sure how much we're going to be able to cover of that on camera, but we'll pick up some filming of the outside as well if we can do. And then we're going to pop to a lovely tap room, which Rich has been to, which I never have done, about less than a mile from here, and share our thoughts on the whole Farleys farmhouse experience.
Yeah, Gun Brewery, you're going to love it, George.
Oh, brilliant. Thank you very much. Hopefully some good art and then some good beer. Thank you very much. We'll see you on the other side. As we suspected, photography and videoing is not permitted inside the house. But don't worry, me and Rich debriefed at Gun Brewery on our experience of visiting Farleys farmhouse, and we will try and take you through and pull out some of the highlights, so do stick with us for that debrief with a beer. There are two different prices for entering Farleys farm. For £25 you get a 50-minute tour of the house, as well as all-day access to the sculpture garden, which you're seeing here, and also the Lee Miller Gallery, which I'll explain about in a minute. If you just want to pay £10, that gives you access to the sculpture garden and the Lee Miller Gallery, and I should say as well, there's a cafe here. Some of the sculptures, like this one, really captured us. I would say the quality of the sculptures in the sculpture garden are variable. Some of them are from the 50s and 60s, including by Roland Penrose. Some of them are for sale and are much more modern. The Lee Miller Gallery is a space opposite the house which has a rolling range of shows, and when we were there was a really interesting display of photography from women Indian artists. My personal view is, if you're visiting for the first time, you have to include the house tour for £25, because that is the highlight of visiting Farleys farm. But if you're revisiting, you might just want to visit the sculpture garden and Lee Miller Gallery. Well, we made it to the beautiful Gun Brewery. If I just spin you round, have a look at this a second. And you can see we're right out in the Sussex countryside now. This is only less than a mile. Cheers, Rich, anyway.
Cheers, George.
Very good. What did you think of, the tour was interesting, wasn't it? It was about a 50-minute tour. What did you feel about it generally? Did you enjoy it? Did you get a lot out of it at Farleys farmhouse?
Yeah, man, it was a really interesting tour. Yeah, all the little sort of knickknacks of the everyday life of surrealists was that was the big thing that was a lot of fun about it. Like they had a lot of visitors who were famous artists at the time, including like Picasso and Man Ray and some other English surrealists as well, and. Like they all kind of made brought little bits and pieces with them that are still there, and collecting cabinets or strewn around on the sideboards and things. Which was very cool. Yeah, I think that was really interesting, wasn't it? And I was just saying on our cycle over that
I always compare these places to Charleston, which is a really famous, like, artistic house. And I know you haven't visited it, but I was saying that the quality of art here was really good, wasn't it? There was Picasso. There were 3 works
really
by Picasso.
high level.
Yeah, Man Ray. There was a Leonora Carrington painting. And there was some really interesting tribal art as well. And I thought the tour guide was really informative, wasn't she?
Yeah,
she knew her stuff.
Yeah, she was good. She was into it. I felt like there was like we hadn't really plumbed her depths as well. Like if there'd been more, like I think she had more to give. Like if we'd had time.
Yeah, so it was like a greatest hits, wasn't it? And she drew us to certain key objects.
Yeah, but she knew her stuff, and she seemed to be genuinely into it as well.
Yeah. And that was kind of infectious, wasn't it? I thought. Yeah. I really liked. It's sort of like an old farmhouse. I'm very sorry, by the way, we weren't allowed to film in there, and we always respect that on the vlog. But like, it was an old farmhouse, and so you entered through the kitchen, didn't you? And that was where there was a Picasso that was kind of inserted into the wall above the oven, which I thought was really interesting. And and you then went through to she sort of talked to us about,
but not inserted in a way that was at all like respectful of the fact that it was a original Picasso. It was just kind of like really bodged in, and it's amazing.
That was really funny, wasn't it? And they brought that back from France. That wasn't one that was produced there, but then there was a lithograph print of that was produced at the farmhouse, wasn't there? But then it was a copy of that.
Yeah,
and that was linking to the Red Bulls as well.
And they were trying to say that it was whatever Picasso had kind of done this, whatever he did
in the ICA guest book, wasn't it?
Yeah, to kind of give the ICA a little boost, because like Penrose had founded with somebody who was the other person? He'd founded the ICA basically.
Yeah, which we love and which we've covered on this vlog as well. So
and there was some particular cow on the farm that they were trying to say was like in the
Picasso, it was a red Angus cow, wasn't it? And the cow in this grasshopper, it was a grasshopper ball or something, wasn't it? The picture by Picasso was, which I'm really sorry I can't bring you, was there. And the kitchen was kind of, it was weird because it was like it had an Aga, but it was kind of frozen in time. And we learned that Lee Miller in her sort of life towards the end of her life was a cordon bleu cook, and I felt a bit sad about that. Did you? I sort of felt that she was kind of, not that I didn't feel sad she was a cook, but I felt sad that she left her brilliant photography behind.
Yeah, but I mean, as the guide explained, like she'd been pretty shaken up by being a war photographer in World War II, and like maybe that was like she just kind of felt a need to dive into something else, and put that sort of period of her life behind her. Yeah. Well, on that note, there was like an amazing picture that she'd taken of her, her and another photojournalist who were there, of each other sitting in Hitler's bath.
Oh yeah, on the day that he killed himself in Berlin, which was weird. That was his Munich house, wasn't it? Yeah,
just like amazing.
Yeah. And the guide explained that the boots were on the ground, weren't they, by the bath, and that Lee Miller had been to Dachau the day before.
Their army boots that they'd been. Right. Wow, that she'd like trodden the mud of the concentration camp into Hitler's bath mat.
Yeah, it was very powerful, that.
Yeah.
And then you go from the kitchen, that was actually not in the kitchen, those photos, but you go from the kitchen into the dining room, which is the oldest room in the house, and that's pretty special, isn't it? And now you and I both agree that Roland Penrose, who has lots of works displayed in this room, isn't the greatest artist, is he? We would say probably not the greatest surrealist.
Not the greatest of the surrealists, no.
No, not even the greatest of the British surrealists, for that sake. But there was an amazing fireplace, wasn't there? Which was beautiful, actually, and that's on our stickers. If you can see the tour of the stickers, like you could just see a little face of this is a tour sticker. So like that was very Charleston-esque. It was kind of like this amazing fireplace which hasn't been restored at all, which links to the downs which we're surrounded by.
If I could get it in.
See if you can. And it links to the downs and the kind of Longman of Wilmington, doesn't it? And apparently, although we didn't really see that, but like
they said that they could see when they moved in, they could see the Longman, which is like this chalk giant carved into the downs, from their garden, and like he'd done the fireplace. I mean, it doesn't look anything like the Long Man, but it's some representation of the Long Man as a sun god on the fireplace. I'll tell you what it reminded me of. Do you know Ron Gittins?
No, who's that?
So he's like do you remember? He's like this mad kind of outsider artist who like turned his rented flat into.
Oh yes, I do know. Yes, I do know him. Yes.
No, he made like his fireplace into a minotaur.
Yeah. I've really wanted to visit that.
Yeah,
that sounds incredible.
Like in Birkenhead, he died in 2019, I think.
Yeah.
And then like the landlord was just gonna smash it all up, and there was like this whole campaign. I think Jarvis Cocker was part of the campaign to get it. Now it's been preserved as a museum. I think it's like a listed thing. But yeah, it's amazing. Like he created this whole kind of
outside
world, like world of kind of sculptures and murals, sort of based on like Greek and Roman mythology, I think.
Did it remind you of that a little bit? Sort of that.
Yeah,
aesthetic,
well, just like because the fire, and well, there was another fireplace in there as well that they'd done something with other than making fires, wasn't there? There was like in that room where the Hitler photograph was, there was like a big sort of stone head lying in a fireplace. So it did remind me of that, because there was a couple of in the Ron Gittins thing, there's this big like a relief sort of sculpture. He's made like the fireplace into like a minotaur's head with the mouth as the fireplace open, and then I think there's like a lion in one of the other rooms as well. But anyway, it did.
It reminded you. That's interesting. And it's really Charleston-esque, that little bit. And then you go down a corridor, and that's where some of the highlights was, what Rich was saying about this cabinet of curiosities, where there's this tiny little sculpture by Alexander Calder that you can imagine him making at the table, you said, couldn't you? That was really nice. Yeah. And there was a Leonora Carrington. I mean, there's lots and lots of art around. I'd say the majority of the paintings are by Roland Penrose, but there's lots of others by Man Ray, as we say, Picasso, etc. And then the rest of the house is modern, or you only see the downstairs, and there's this very big like living room, isn't there? And that has some really lovely pictures of Lee Miller, and you learn a little bit about her transition from model to surrealist photographer to war photographer. And there was a massive, you were taken, weren't you, by the Papua New Guinea sculpture?
Yeah, which apparently was what was the son called?
Anthony Penrose, who we briefly saw, by the way. He was there, he's on the site, and he's written the book, The Many Lives of Lee, or The Lives of Lee Miller, and he brought it back, didn't he?
But he brought this, like when his dad died, when
Roland Penrose
died, like he'd been off on his travels, and he had this like, basically it's like it's kind of like a man-sized seated wooden sculpture, but with like a huge sort of mask-like face, but and he'd sat it where his dad used to sit in the room to like, and the guide was explaining that he found it, he thought it was like a calming presence,
a benign presence, she said, didn't she?
Which I thought that was quite lovely, actually.
To remember your dad by. That's a beautiful. And the final room was the most recently added. It was in the 1970s, and it was a study, and it was where Lee Miller worked on her cordon bleu cookery. And I must say, by the way, I wasn't dismissing her career as a cook. She clearly had a massive wave of PTSD after what she saw in the war, and felt she could never really return to that kind of art form and being an artist. And it was saying that, like her son, she became pregnant. There's actually one of my favourite Roland Penrose pictures was the picture of Lee Miller pregnant, and it was a surprise pregnancy.
Right.
And her son didn't know anything about her career as a photographer, did he? Apparently,
no, right. They found
the negatives.
60,000
negatives
in the attic after she died.
Which is crazy. So it was really good. Did you think that? I mean, I think we both agree the guide was amazing. Do you think that? I think it was £25 tour, and that included access to the whole site as well. So there's beautiful gardens which we bought you. There's the exhibition on Indian photography, which I think we both enjoyed.
Yeah,
that was really
fun.
powerful.
I like the. Like the more documentary stuff.
Photographs.
I thought it was good. Like maybe the other stuff wasn't wasn't quite for me. But
no, that's fair enough. And I think, but would you say that's good value, or would you say it's kind of a bit expensive? I mean, I suppose these places are privately run, and so they rely on tours and donations.
Yeah, I mean, it was a bit. I mean, the tour was good. I mean, how long do you think it lasted? Maybe
50 minutes to maybe. Yeah,
I think it was longer than that. It was
maybe an hour. Yeah,
it was maybe half an hour. Could have been 40 minutes.
Yeah,
I don't know.
No, 50. I thought. Yeah,
oh,
50.
50.
Yeah,
right,
yeah.
right. Sorry, I thought you said 15.
Yeah,
It was
no,
definitely
50.
longer than that.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Maybe a little bit expensive.
But then it's a beautiful site. I mean, it's interesting, and so I do recommend you come. It's sort of quite unique, isn't it? And I think you said,
place,
didn't you,
yeah.
that it was like you felt the spirit of artists at work.
Yeah, really. Like there was a very you could sense like the playfulness of particularly Lee Miller. Throughout the rooms. Just in all the little things. Just not only like the art objects, but like the books, and like there was all sorts of like found things that they'd brought in, like there was like a stuffed adder or an adder that was preserved in some way that they'd found,
And a mummified rat.
A mummified rat from under the floorboards.
Yeah.
But then, like I noticed in that last room, there was a glass or was it plastic tubing? But there was some kind of, I think it might have been a coil of plastic tubing, but with like a sculpted brass head and tail, that had obviously been inspired by the dead adder that they'd found.
Oh, cool! I didn't see that. That's amazing.
And like,
really
there was all just like, I don't think like you're saying, and like she said about like the PTSD and how she'd switched to the cookery and stuff. But you don't get the sense that she'd like lost her sense of fun and or anything like that.
That's a really good point. I think that's really it's really
like
interesting.
it felt like the house. I mean, like the house was alive with that sense of mischief and enjoyment of being alive and
being creative creatures.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a really good point, I think. And so I think that might, maybe I'd like to have paid, I'd reach maybe £20, but I do appreciate as well that it's like a privately run gallery. It's only open on Thursdays, Fridays and Sundays, and you do have to book a tour in advance, so obviously go on the website, and just remember as well that Lee Miller is having a mega show, of which Farley Farm are lending over 200 pieces apparently, according to the guide, at Tate Britain. Hopefully we can get Rich along to Tate Britain to share his thoughts on the official Lee Miller. We'll try that anyway, between now and February. But yeah, thank you ever so much for joining us on Art Gallery Explorer. This is the first of quite hopefully a few vlogs where I'll get out of London and explore, hopefully with special guests like Rich. But we will now finish our pints before getting back on the bikes and heading home. So thank you ever so much for watching. Do visit Farley Farmhouse, and I should say it shuts I think it's the 31st of October. It's not open over the winter, so if you can't get there before then, you might need to come in the spring. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. Thank you, Rich. That's brilliant.
Cheers.
Cheers, and we will say goodbye.